We are two unrelated brothers, and before we get into it, Jerry, if people like us, where can they find us?
So we have an Instagram. All you gotta do is type in Two Unrelated Brothers, and you should be able to find us. A YouTube channel, J&J Productions, or Two Unrelated Brothers should also pull us up. I mean, we're such a small, I guess, drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
It still might be kind of tough to find us. But besides that, we also have a Gmail, twounrelatedbrothers@gmail.com. And you can also find our podcast on Spotify, Google Podcast, and a couple of other places. I'm pretty sure if you just Google Two Unrelated Brothers Podcast, you should be good to go.
Yeah, I think we got a fairly unique name. Well, I hope so. I don't know. I actually haven't really checked.
You'd be surprised. On YouTube, there was, I think, one other Two Unrelated Brothers, but they were inactive, it seems like, for a period of years. Good. Yeah.
Damn it. I thought I was thinking we were original.
I know. No, I think we did good.
I mean, yeah, it's not like we're just like two bros or something like that. Just a little twist on it.
Oh, yeah. So what's this episode going to be about today?
This one, well, actually, before I do that, I just want to say I did want to bring this up last episode because I wasn't sure it was going to happen. Okay. But really hope y'all like that new little intro music we got going. Big thanks to Jerry on that. He had this last episode ready to go and said, I mean, I don't have the music on there yet. And this was like the day before. And he's like, and I just thought, oh, I just posted it. We'll do the next one. Motherfucker did it. He did it the night before, and not only the intro and the outro. So thank you for that, Jerry. And I really like it. I think a lot of people do appreciate that. It gives a little flair, a little pizzazz.
Yeah, it definitely gives us a little bit more extra. I guess because pretty much every other podcast that's, out there, I want to say maybe official, like more, as a team and this and that, because this podcast is just me and you. There's no...
Yeah, we are the team.
Yeah, we are the team, right? There's no big studio, that doing any of this. This is just two guys who work, normal jobs, and on our free time we do this. And, I really appreciated and liked the fact that we kind of polished it up a little bit,
No, yeah, exactly. But you do the heavy editing, and then, I guess I'm more of the social media guy, and then doing the little photo edits just to, again, give us some covers, try to appeal to the eye a bit. It's mostly an audio in a form of entertainment, obviously, but maybe there's like a funny little edit on the cover, whether it be on Spotify or when we start putting these on YouTube and Instagram and stuff, that it catches someone's eyes and go, "Oh, I like that." It gives you a little taste of our humor, and maybe then you'll see. Hopefully you'll click on it and give us a chance, give us a listen, and see like, all right, I dig these guys.
So funny thing about that, right, is I started the Instagram, but you definitely kept it alive. And I posted my new keyboard. I got the Mountain Everest Max.
Right.
And I put a little penis key where the escape button is, because I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So I posted a little video of that thinking it would be funny, and no one liked it or anything, but your posts get a lot of more likes than mine. So I guess maybe, I don't know. I guess I kind of have a dumb sense of humor, or I have no idea.
I don't know, man. I liked it. I thought it was funny, and I liked the little song you put on it too. Yeah. I don't know. I guess you're a little more with mine. I think I think it's just more like I'm willing to, I guess, be a little more. What's the word here? A little more trendy stuff. I try to make it a little more mainstream. You're the underground humor. You put penises on your keyboard. That's not gonna get 1,000 likes right away unless we're super popular.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad about that. I've done plenty too where I posted and I feel like that was good. I like that, and then nothing. So hey, man, it happens.
Yeah, so now I got a penis keyboard.
Yes, there you go. Now that we're just wanted to go off that little tangent there, because again, I can't believe you did that. That was really cool of you, so I appreciate that. We're gonna do something a little bit different in that we're playing kind of a recent game. This is definitely the most recent game we've done in respect to us recording it. We usually play older ones as it's been years at least, mostly we were in high school when we played these games. This one, though, was just last year. We're going to be talking about Inscryption.
So, I was just going to say, so this game kind of surprised me in the fact that I was the one who saw it and was like, oh, man, this would be cool to review.
Mm-hmm.
But you were the one that actually really took a liking to this game, definitely more so than I did, for sure.
Yeah, I've seen things on it. Obviously I saw like Markiplier play it a bit, and like, oh, that looks really interesting. I like those kind of games, but not like, excuse me, super into those kind of games. But once you suggested it, I saw it would be nice playing, a more recent game, and haven't really done like a kind of like puzzle card game like that. So it'd be a nice, change of pace from our normal stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is probably I'm trying to think. This might be our first indie game we've talked about as well.
Yeah,
so we've
I
done
think
small
so.
studio games, but not like full on like 100% indie. So that'll be interesting too.
Yeah, this guy has quite the cult following.
Oh yeah, like I think for sure I'll probably be, even though we'll get into it in a bit, but like, yeah, even though like this game's not perfect to me, I absolutely do love like the actual like gameplay of it. I would say I'm a pretty big fan. I'd probably like follow him if I could follow him, find his stuff on social media and all that, because I know he's made other games before.
Yeah, so one of the others is the Hex,
Mm-hmm.
and then he also, which I'll get into later, has some other games that are pretty small time and seems like just exist to participate in this ARG that we'll speak about later.
Mm-hmm. And for anyone who maybe, I mean, everyone probably knows what that is, but just in case, what is an ARG, Jerry?
So it's an alternate reality game. So it's like, for instance, in this game, the game company who made Inscryption is called Game Funa, right? Mm-hmm. So Game Funa doesn't really exist, but in this alternate universe, they're a very real company.
Right.
So.
Okay. No, yeah, for sure. So before we dive right into it, then let's just get into the quick little synopsis. And this one's gonna be very interesting because, like as Jerry alluded to before, we have different opinions on this game. And I guess just a spoiler alert right now, I played this game to completion. Jerry, you did not.
No, man. I maybe got like maybe a 2/3 of the way through Act 1, and I was like, nope.
Wow, that's insane to me.
Well,
I thought you'd like it.
Well, see, I thought I would too, but it's just like, the time I have to play video games is so sparse that I'm not. If I'm not enjoying it, I don't.
You just gotta back out.
No, I don't. Why am I gonna play this?
Right.
If I have maybe 8 hours over this entire month to play video games, why am I gonna spend 6 of those on a game I do not enjoy?
Right. For research, Jerry. For research.
but that's where I did the. That's where, I was like, but the story does seem really interesting. So I looked at the ARG aspects of it because you played it to completion. So you got the surface level kind of story, but there's this whole stuff that actually surprisingly goes out into the real world, which we'll talk about later.
Okay. Yeah, no, I understand that. That makes sense. I mean, if it was the other way around, I'd probably like just tell you straight up, like, I'm not digging this, so you know what, I'll focus straight up on finding other stuff to talk about. You can talk about the game. I understand that.
For sure.
Okay, so let's get into the synopsis here real quick, in case, again, people are like, oh, it's a puzzle game or something, or a card game. What kind, though? So here we go. This is where we're going to get into it. From the creator of Pony Island and The Hex comes the latest mind-melting, self-destructing love letter to video games. Inscryption is an inky black card-based odyssey that blends the deck-building, roguelike, escape room-style puzzles and psychological horror into a blood-laced smoothie. Darker still are the secrets inscribed upon the cards.
Nice.
And that is from the publisher's website, Devolver Digital, who have done obviously done a bunch of weird games. They're pretty much known to be publishers of like cult classics.
Yeah, they done a jam up job, like Hotline Miami. Love it.
Just to say, yep.
Yeah, love it.
I think that's where they got their big break from. And now, like I said, they've done a bunch of stuff. They did Fall Guys. I know that's one. That's
really.
Yeah, they published Fall Guys.
Man, that's like a streamers. I just was watching a video about Tim the Tatman and how he like for years or for however long couldn't like win Fall Guys, like couldn't even complete Fall Guys to the point where he got to the finish line and like someone was pulling him or he couldn't jump into it or something, and he got disqualified right at the finish line.
No,
he was one of the first ones there.
That's insane. Oh my god, that's a curse.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cursed. So that was the publisher. This was developed by Daniel Mullins Games,
right.
which as the name does not suggest, though, this is one man. And I assume that's his name. It is his name.
Can I throw in our obligatory The Last of Us reference?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Okay, I just had to. So in The Last of Us 2, when you're attacking the wolves as Ellie, there's a woman playing a PS Vita, and you can kill her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you look at the game she's playing, it's like Hotline Miami 1 or 2, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Can you kind of hear the music, too, because she was wearing headphones?
Yes, you can.
Okay, yeah, I remember that, because that's actually how I recognize that. Because I'm like, that sounds very familiar, and then I look at the PSP, and I'm like, oh, shit, that's cool.
Yeah, it was badass.
I like how you got to remember. I don't know if you did it in the last episode.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna have to,
unfortunately.
just write a sticky note, put it on your computer, and you like reference The Last of Us.
Every time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like gonna be our alien from South Park episodes. There you go. So this was released for PC, solely on PC too, on October 19th, 2021, which is a perfect time for it, really, given the vibe of it. Didn't do a lot of stuff with the competition. There's a lot of games that came around it, but since it was an indie game, it's not like a huge thing, but just to name a few games that came around during this time. You had Forza Horizon 5, Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker, Deathloop, Football Manager 2022, which I know has a strong cult following, and then Far Cry 6. That's the big one, obviously.
For sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, but even though it was an indie game and had decent competition, especially during the holidays, or right before the holidays, I should say, by January 2022, this game has sold more than 1 million copies. So I don't know the budget, but I'm pretty sure it made a lot of money.
Yeah, so I think one thing that gives this game like a leg up opposed to like a AAA game is the price is, how much did we pay for it? Like $20 or so, $15?
I think full price is $20, but I got it during the winter sale, so I probably got it for like $10.
Yeah, I believe I did too. So that definitely gave it a leg up compared to, especially because this is a full experience. This isn't like, a 20-minute or 2-hour experience.
Yeah.
You can spend quite a bit, especially if you delve into the other aspects of it. You can spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah, it's just so funny because even though like you're right, I probably spent I put in 20 hours into this game, honestly.
Fuck.
But I would have felt kind of dissatisfied if I paid $60 for it, though. Like, it would have warranted that considering the time invested.
Yeah.
But it would have been like $60 for a card game. I don't know, 30, I think. But I think 20 is a very good price for it. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who would pay full 60 for it, but I think 20 helped a lot. I mean, that's probably why, too, it sold, more than 1 million. That's a very good price.
I agree with that, because it's definitely like, I wasn't mad, even though I didn't really enjoy it. I wasn't mad that I spent like $15, $20 on it.
Yeah, I think maybe in a different time, maybe if I was there or something, I don't know. Or it just could not be your bag.
Well, to be honest, I just, as I spoke a couple of episodes ago, I just upgraded my PC, so I've been really messing with that and then finding mods and all this and that. So there's other things I was definitely delving into that I was way more interested in than a card game.
Okay.
As cool as it is, not to take away from it, because it is a really in-depth game.
No, yeah, I understand that completely. So as far as the ratings go, on Metacritic, it currently has a score of 85. The biggest praises for this are for Act 1, specifically its atmosphere and mystery. But then after that, a common consensus seems to be that the game loses some momentum afterwards. I want to bring up this specific quote from PC Gamer's Jody McGregor, because this is kind of like also sums up my experience with the game. In its initial hours, Inscryption is an eerie delight full of mystery. That feeling fades long before it ends. So it's great, especially the first third of it. But then after that, it's still good, don't get me wrong, but it's like, oh man, I thought it was going to be like a masterpiece, and it's like, still a very good game. Still a very good game.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, it just seemed repetitive to me. And I get it. It's a card game, so it is going to be repetitive. But it just, like for instance, I love Far Cry. That's the king of repetition, right? It's the same shit every game. But
give you that serotonin of clearing out, checkpoints.
Yeah, I enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, let's get into like what exactly. I mean, everyone knows now it's a card game. I mean, you've probably seen it. It's a recent one now. Everyone knows what this is. But So it's a card game, but what I do like too, and this is kind of where the mystery kicks in too, is that when you start the game, it has the main menu has the normal, get up of like new game, continue game options and all that. But new game is blacked out. You can only put continue game. And I think at that point it's like, what the fuck is this? That's weird.
Right.
Like then at that point, I think like even like for a split second, I wondered, like I knew I didn't play it, but even in my mind, like, did I play this before? I don't think I did.
Yeah. That same thing happened to me. I was like, okay.
So see, I think that right there gives you like
It gave me Undertale vibes.
Yes, I think that's a good comparison. So you click on that, and like at first you kind of start in this it's just the screen is black, and then these like crazy orange eyes appear, and then he just starts talking, or like text pops up, and then the guy goes, oh, it's been a long time. Do you remember how to play? I'll show you, and then he just gives you a little tutorial on how to play Inscryption, which is just like I said, just a card game. It's like a 4x3. Is that the right one? Yeah, it's like a 4x3 little table set. And the way you have to win this game is like damage your opponent naturally. And the way it keeps that track of that is like you have scales. And you have to tip the scales onto your opponent, which is about 5 ticks. So you can like have them on the verge, but then like you make a mistake or they have like a really good card. And they can just knock you back to like it's even or like you're on the edge.
So that's 5 at the neutral, right? So technically there's 10 in all.
Yes. So like, yeah, they have to have 5 to get you out, and then you need to get 5 to get them out. Like, you have to have like 5 on them. Yeah.
But they could also get like, let's say if they hit you and it's, 3 towards you, then it's now 8 to kill them. Right?
Yes. So it just goes back and forth. It goes back and forth. It's not like the first to it. Like, you have to collectively like get to that point.
Okay.
Which I think is really cool. I like that. I'm sure it's been done before in like different styles and stuff, but I like that. It's not like, like dwindle their health from like a set point. It's more like, it's like an actual like, more like an actual game. It specifically reminds you of sports where like you can have like them like on the other team on the edge or the other player on the edge, but you slack off or make some mistakes or they get like, a couple lucky breaks, and then next thing you know, it's like you're on the edge of defeat,
Right, right.
So for me, I had a lot of points where it's like just immediate victory or like I'm on the ropes and like, oh man, I gotta hope I draw a card. And how it is, you have like a set deck with like your actual playable cards, and you have like your resource deck, which is squirrels in this case. It's a game about sacrifice. If you want to play one of your strong cards, or like your actual cards that do damage and stuff, you put a squirrel down, you sacrifice it for blood, and then you put your card down, then boom, you play.
So there's actually 2 forms of sacrifice, right? It's not only blood, but also you get these bone coins. So whenever a creature is killed, that then goes into the bone pile. So there are some coins that require bones instead of blood, right?
Yeah, so like every time you sacrifice a squirrel, let's say, you get like 1 bone, which you can do other stuff later that can like, you get buffs and stuff, but we'll get to those in a bit. But like that's like the thing in it. Yeah, you sacrifice cards basically for stronger ones. And then on each card, we have like 1 little blood drop. Some have 2 and some have 3 and some have 4. And that pretty much indicates how many sacrifices you have to make to play that card. So obviously like a 4 blood one, like, like a bear, let's say. And these have like, it's a lot like Yu-Gi-Oh! In the sense now, like, here's its health and here's its attack power. So the bear is obviously powerful. It's got 4 attack power and 6 health. So it's like once and 1 hit and that thing is like, you're on the verge of like death at that point. But then you have to have like at least like a squirrel like sacrifice one of your other cards in play.
So the squirrels are pretty much utterly useless except for the fact that they're used as a sacrificial card, right?
Yes, unless you get certain things to buff them, which we'll get to that in a little bit, because then you play the tutorial round and stuff, and you have actually a talking card called the Stoat.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who kind of tells you like pretty much like the story, or like not the story, but give you a little background. Like, this guy's crazy. You need to get out of here. You need to find my friends. Like it's other talking cards, and from there on, you have to like kind of progress into the map, and then from there you can like start to slowly progress the story, and then you kind of realize like, you can actually like walk around to the room a bit and like solve these like crazy little puzzles. And then if you solve these puzzles, that's when you slowly start to like. I guess like find out more lore and progress the story. It's very weird. It's because there's so many ways. It's not like a linear thing. This, like I said, I watched like Markiplier do a little bit of this first part, and his experience doing it, how he did, was like way different from mine. Obviously, I'm sure yours too is different. Like, so I guess when you played this first round, how'd you feel about it initially?
Well, I wasn't really sure what was going on. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because you're totally like blindsided by the fact that they're like, hey, you played this game before, do you remember, and all that, and you have no idea. And then there's also these other things. Like, for instance, I went to go look at the rule book or whatever. And in order to look at the rule book, I had to yank out one of my teeth, and that was kind of like, okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Really, I didn't think I had to do that.
Yeah, it was towards the very beginning. I had to yank out one of my teeth. Yeah, it was just, it just threw me off, I guess. I was like, okay, this game shouldn't be too bad, but I guess I'm just bad at card games because I was just getting my ass whooped, and you have to like restart from the beginning each time,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, there's a little thing too. Like, you have like two lives essentially, and if you beat a boss in a section, in Act 1 there's like 3 sections, 4 really, I guess, but 3 main sections. And if you beat the boss, then your lives reset at 2. But if you're like in the 3rd section and you die, like you lose both lives, then like what he'll end up doing, this guy that you're playing against, his name is Leshy. He'll grab you and make you into like an actual card, give you a little death card using cards from your own deck. And then after he does that, I assume in universe you play as someone else, and you gotta start all the way over. So you're having a good run, but maybe you messed up one little play, and then it's like, well, gotta start all over now.
Yeah, and that was, I guess, one of the most frustrating things is maybe I wasn't getting as deep into it or paying attention to it the way I should have been. So I was just getting beat, over and over and over. Which, whenever you kind of get a card made out of yourself, I actually made one of the most badass cards in the game, because you can choose attributes from other cards to sacrifice or whatever to make this card. So I gave it to where it was a blood sacrifice of 1, but then I also had an attack card that was like 4 blood. So I put the attack of that on that card. So I had this really super powerful card that only required 1 blood sacrifice, and basically let me one-shot, whoever it was.
Right.
So that was cool.
No, that's what I liked about it too. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit RNG too. If you have you can have like amazing cards, but like you said, like if you die, then the first thing you do is like you choose like the cost it takes, your blood cost, how much it is to summon. Sometimes you just get like 3 or 4 blood, and you're like, oh shit, well that sucks. And other times, like if you specifically too, if you have like a 1 or like a pelt, which is just basically defense, and it costs 0, so it's basically a free play. I've had one of those before, where it's a free play, and then I get like the health and attack of like a bear. So I got 4 attacks, 6 health, and then you have some cards have sigils, which gives them like a little special power. So kind of like what you said, like when you gave your card, what was it, a blood sacrifice, or like it was on like a worthy sacrifice or something.
Yeah, of just like 1.
Yeah. And then you can get them like, let's say, then some cards have the unkillable sigil, which basically means if they die, it goes right back into your hand. So I did that. So basically, I have this card that is free to play, has a great health and great attack, and also if by the off chance it perishes, or I want to sacrifice, maybe I could do it and I'll just get it back, no problem. And that's like obviously an OP card.
Damn.
So it's cool. It's always nice to do that, because this. While I like this first part a lot, with the vibe, the mystery behind it, and finding out all these puzzles and stuff, in this part, the game itself is not that balanced. There's some stuff in here that you're gonna exploit, like disgustingly so. I mean, that's the way it is in the game. It's designed that way, but it's just so funny to, like, kind of when you. So let's say for this, for example, you're talking about how the squirrels are kind of useless,
right?
Besides, like, just for sacrifice. Well, when you go on this little like mini map, which is like kind of like a old school like treasure map kind of deal, like you would see in westerns, maybe like a little game piece. There's these events, and some of them are like, oh, you can put your card on a fireplace, and like it gets like an extra attack power or more health, or you can like sacrifice one of your cards to like give its special power to one of another card.
Right.
So things like that. So here it's like you can get things called totems, and it can give like a certain class of cards. So let's say like wolves, you can give those, like you can make those unkillable, or we can make them flying, which in this case, if you have a flying card, that means if there's a card like facing it, usually that means if you have like not a flying card and there's a card in front of you, you can't damage your opponent directly. It only kills the card.
Right.
But if you have a flying sigil on it, then that means it can like, it just ignores that opponent and it'll just immediately attack. It'll just directly attack your opponent, Leshy. So it could be like there could be like a guy with 10 health in front of you. Doesn't matter because you're flying unless it has like an anti-air defense or air defense.
Okay.
So
yeah, I didn't
that's
really
one thing.
get that deep. I didn't get like as deep as that into it. So yeah, wow.
I think that would have helped. Yeah, because like, so like say for this, there's a card in there, the cat, and the cat is it's just one blood. So you sacrifice it, you get one blood, but it has a little sigil. It basically means it's like kind of unkillable if you sacrifice it. So if you, let's say you want to play something else and you click on it, you sacrifice, but instead of like going away, it just stays there and then you put the card somewhere else. So then there's a sigil, there's like a totem where you can make your squirrels unkillable. So that if you sacrifice them, all it does is the squirrel goes right back into your hand. So you just have basically an unlimited supply of squirrels. And if you do that, you're good. Like you can have a shitty hand. It does not matter because you have like unlimited resources. So you can kind of like, because the point of the game is, do I go into my resource deck or do I try to get like a really good card? That's where a lot of the, decision making is.
Right.
But if you have that, it's kind of like, well, fuck, going to the resource deck. I'm going to get my, I'm going to get my bear. I'm going to get my shark, stuff like that. Because like I have the resources already. I'm good.
Damn. See,
so that's a good way to like kind of like not break. I mean, you kind of break it. Or there's another one too. Like I said, if it's unkillable, you can do that to, like I said, a wolf or a like to the deer clan or something like that, to the bird. So it's like, oh no, like one of my bugs died. All right, it's fine. It dies, goes right back in your hand. No harm, no foul.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah. Okay, yeah. I didn't really, I guess, get that in depth into it,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I did make like a card or two that was pretty OP, but at the end of the day, it was just so, I just hated having to start back, over and over and over.
What I did too to kind of help is, well, there was two things too, because I was kind of like you. I think the first half hour or even up to an hour, I didn't really understand how to play. I was getting my ass kicked too. Like it was not even close. I think I won like a round or two, but then like before I even got to the first boss, I just got absolutely, destroyed. It wasn't until I actually watched the Markiplier play it and like saw it from the outside, kind of see like what was happening. And like, and then that's why it helped me like, oh, I get it now, because I didn't understand the whole like, like, oh, there's a card in front of you. So because if you attack it, it doesn't hurt your actual opponent, it just kills that card. Like that was a big thing for me. I didn't understand that. So that's why I'm like, oh, no wonder. I'm like trying to kill all of these cards, but not paying attention. And next thing you know, like I'm dead. I'm focused too much on the cards instead of like, oh, there's the empty space. Go for the empty space. Who cares about the, his defense? So that helped a lot.
Okay. Yeah, so I didn't watch any Markiplier or anything like that, so maybe I might jump back into it and see, and try to play it in that kind of way.
Seriously, screen share it, man. I'll watch you. I'll give you some tips.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, and so like if you beat bosses and stuff, you get like these rare cards. So like I said, you can get like the cat, which is like, unkillable if you sacrifice it. Or there's a card, the black goat, where it costs 1 to play, but if you sacrifice it, that's 3 blood.
Yeah.
So then you can play like a really strong card from it, even though it costs 1 blood. So like that's its buff. Which again, though, if you use that, if you get like an unkillable thing on it, like let's say you sacrifice a cockroach, because a cockroach is unkillable. Let's say you sacrifice a cockroach and you put that unkillable sigil on the goat, you got endless supply of goats then. Because once you sacrifice it, it comes right back in your hand. And all you need is a squirrel. Play it and then boom, you just got endless resources right there too.
Damn. See, I should have watched videos on it. I didn't.
No, yeah, it's one of those games too. Like you should probably read the rule book too, and that it doesn't really tell you much because another thing that I didn't know either is that it's not like on this map. It's not like it tells you like, hey, increase health, increase attack, or get resources stuff. It's just like little symbols, and you just recognize them by playing. So like I said, like you, probably the first hour and a half, I've recognized a couple, but then there are others like, what the fuck is that? I don't know what that is. And then you can like pick the wrong one and be like, well, shit. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. This was pointless. I could have gotten like a another good card. Instead, I did this. That was, didn't benefit me at all.
Yeah, that happened to me a couple of times. Like, I'd fuck something up. I'd choose the wrong thing or the wrong totem and put the wrong, yeah.
Well, like I said, like, so let's say like I put the unkillable thing on the cat. Keep in mind, well, yeah, that's great. That's a good one. But you could also fuck it up, like, because the cat has 0 attack power and 1 health. I remember once, and I did this too. It made me laugh because I also saw Markiplier do it. You get an adder, and that's basically poison, where like only has 1 attack power, but it doesn't matter because it's poison. If it attacks anything, no matter the health, it dies just off that 1 hit.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that's cool. So I put the poison on the cat, and you go, okay, cool, but also it has 0 attack power, so it doesn't matter. I gave it poison and it has 0 fangs. That's basically what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, that's how I fucked that up. I think I read a comment that made me laugh. Was he's like, that's the equivalent of like putting a sniper scope on a health pack. Like, that's actually really funny. Yeah, just pointless. You want to put the health pack on the sniper. That's what's good. So yeah. It's a bunch of little things like that, and I know I'm getting into it a lot like that, and and this is all in the first act too. Like, and that's like the first few hours for me were just, and because there are some scripted deaths too.
Right.
Where like if you're doing too well, the game will like go like too easy or something. It'll play like all these cards, and it's gonna be impossible to win because part of the story is for you to die and like find these other talking cards and like get the tools you need to get to progress the story.
Right. Okay. See, and I think I got to one of those deaths that was purposeful, maybe once or twice, but
okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I bet what it was too is that Did you do a lot of the puzzles around the cabin?
Yeah, I did them all, I believe, actually.
Oh shit! So, did you find all the cards?
Yeah, I found the cards in the safe, and then all of them in the drawer. Mm-hmm. The card in the cuckoo clock.
Yes, that's the one I was gonna ask. Then that's crazy. Yeah, you had everything you needed then, and all you had to do was like beat him at the end.
Yeah, I just couldn't beat him. I was just getting my ass whooped because I was attacking the cards. I wasn't attacking the empty spaces.
Yeah. Okay. When I said that, you were like, "Oh shit!"
Because it's the same thing for him. So like, if you don't put a card there on your empty spaces, then he's doing the exact same thing and fucking you up too. And so that's the way I was looking at it. So I was occupying the spaces that had an attack card instead of the ones that were empty.
Yeah, that's why I was saying for me. That's kind of where I liked it. It's like that strategy of like, do I go for the kill right now, or do I try to like play a little bit of defense for now? And that's where you kind of have to look at your cards and kind of see like, ooh, am I gonna get lucky with the draw, or like you look at the scales and think, okay, I can like finish this off real quick and then worry about defense, the next phase or something.
Right. Yeah.
I said that's so you think like whenever you couldn't, so you got to that part then a few times. How many times did you try before you were like, I can't do it, or I'm not gonna do it?
Dude, it was countless. I died so many times I don't even know, man. It was like.
So you did try though. It's not like you did it once or twice and like, I'm done.
Yeah. So let me pop open my Steam. I'll tell you how long I played it. Because I gave it a fair shake. I didn't play it for just 20 minutes and just said fuck it. I wasn't going to do that. I mean,
I know when.
Yeah. So, I love this podcast. I love doing it. I love talking to you about a game. At the same time with that, it was just so frustrating. And it's like,
yeah, you don't want to be miserable playing it.
Yeah. And that's the way I was feeling. But I figured I could be an asset in another way where, I would look at the other aspects of it. So I played it for about 3 hours.
Okay. Wow. Okay. You know what's crazy? So, if you did that, then in 3 hours, that's a pretty decent time, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think it took me like 5 or 6 hours to get through the Act 1.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, keep in mind, too, like, the first couple was, like, me kind of going blind. But then after that, too, like, I just made dumb mistakes. And like I said, if you make a dumb mistake, you can just ruin everything, and you're like, well, shit, now I gotta start all over. Did you,
Yes.
That's pretty crazy. Did you, to solve the puzzles, did you, like, solve them all on your own, or did you have to, like, look up a couple?
Can you come back on that? You're coming in and out.
Oh, okay. With the puzzles in the cabin, did you like solve them all on your own, or did you have to like Google them?
No, I solved them all on my own. So I opened that rule book and I noticed it had like the numbers on the, because the first thing I noticed was that big safe, and so I looked and I saw the numbers on in the rule book, and I tried them on the safe, and then so that worked, and then next I was just because you get unlimited try in the the drawer puzzles. It's like you're almost doing a simulated card fight, and with that I just kept on modifying the positions. Yeah, and ended up getting that. So it's not like I got it first
right
try. It took a while, but I was just interested in trying to see what was in the what's in the box.
I got you. No, yeah,
good old Seven reference.
Oh yeah, I love that. One of my favorite puzzles, I think, though, was when for the cuckoo clock. So there's a bit like you can get a knife out in one of the earlier puzzles, and Leshy will go, right. Ooh, I see you got that. You may not like what you have to do with it, and that goes into your backpack. And basically, what that is like it gives you it's an extra resource, like kind of like what you said with the pulling your tooth out to look at the rule book.
Yeah.
If you do that in game while you're playing, if you do that, it will give. It's kind of like that in itself is kind of like a sacrifice, so it will count like it's a hit towards Leshy. And so like you have the knife over there too, like that. And let's say like you're on the edge of like death, and you're like, well, at first you don't know exactly what it's for, so you kind of just do it out of nowhere just to see what it does. And what it does is just kind of like, so you pull out your tooth with pliers. This is like you gouge out your goddamn eye and put that on the scale, and it's like 4 hits.
Yeah, so I did. So I got that far because that's how you beat the cuckoo clock puzzle, is by equipping a special eye.
Yeah, so like when you gouge out your eye, like your right side of your vision goes dark because you're missing a goddamn eye. So if you beat Leshy, then it ends, and Leshy goes, oh, we can't continue the game like this. It opens up a lockbox, and in it is a bunch of eyeballs. And I had to do this twice. The first time I did not notice the glowing eye, because obviously you would pick the glowing eye, but I didn't see it. So I ended up picking like a regular eye, and it's just like, all right, well, nothing happened, so I didn't progress the story. It wasn't until I did it again, I'm like, oh shit, one of those eyes is glowing. I'm gonna pick that one. And then like you have like this crazy vision that's like look into the cuckoo clock and stuff. Like that's the key.
What eye did you choose?
I think I might have chosen the goat eye. Because it looked kind of funny, and I didn't know it was a goat eye at first.
Right.
Until like I think again, like I was just playing again, and then like when you play like the black goat card, it's just like a regular goat, right? If you pick that goat eye though, it's a funny little thing where like the goat then becomes like gets like these anime like waifu eyes. Because you have a goat eye, so the goat's like ooh la la.
That's fucking funny.
That is funny. I didn't saw that either. Because again, I saw like a whole like little what's it called? A compilation of like streamers and stuff like playing the game, and then they're like, what the hell? Why is this goat now looking like this? And it's like, and I looked it up. It's like, oh yeah, if you pick the goat eye, then the black goat card changes. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's pretty hilarious actually. So the second time you then chose the glowing eye, right?
Yeah. I noticed it. I'm like, how the hell did I miss that? So, and then he says, go look to the cuckoo clock. Because the puzzle is you need to put the hour, minute, and second hands in the right location. When you have that eye, you see like where to put them. Then you get like the last talking card with a film.
Right.
And that's important because if you beat Leshy, you notice too when you do the death cards, he takes a picture of you.
Right.
And so if you beat him, same thing happens. You go like into that room, but the camera will be with you. So you put the film in there, and you take a picture of him, and so you kind of make him into a card, and that's how you progress into the story.
Yeah. So I got all the way up to where I got the camera, the film, but I just
couldn't beat him.
I just couldn't beat him. Yeah.
What I did, I kind of cheated in that part. If you like back out mid game, like if you're gonna lose, you can just like restart again and just keep trying.
Damn.
Because the cards they don't reset. Like the hand stays the same, so you can kind of like play it like a little roadmap. Like, okay, I did this last time, didn't work. I'm gonna try it this way, and then you're like, oh shit, that made it worse. All right, back out real quick so it doesn't save, and then try again, and then just go from there. That's what I did on that boss. I did it like 5 times.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, because I lost to him before. Here's the thing: I lost to him before. Then I beat him, but I beat him without the camera. Because like I said, I picked the stupid goat eye. Then the third time I finally beat him with the right stuff, and then so at that point though, it's kind of like you were like, I like this game a lot. I'm not doing that. I want to progress, so I just kept backing out until like I finally got him.
Damn. Okay.
So like I said, maybe that'll help you if you ever decide to give it another shot. Like, okay, you don't have to start over, just back up. Also, you could do that at any point in the map too. Like, let's say you want to like, you're not sure what card to pick or something. Or like, oh, I want to get a new card, or I want to sacrifice something. If you just back out, like say like you get a crappy card set selection, you're like, oh, I don't want any of those. I'd rather just sacrifice. Back out and go to the other one, and you'll be okay.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know any of that.
I just figured that out because I just thought like I don't want to do this again. So it was more like a chance move. Like, is this gonna work? And it worked. So I'm like, all right, cool. This is perfect.
So after you beat Leshy, so you take a picture of Leshy, right? And then that's kind of how you defeat him?
Yeah, that's how you defeat him because he becomes like a card. So, and then while this is happening, like this is crazy sound playing, like really loud, distorted thing, and you look on the wall, it's the New Game Plus logo, and it's like, you know, like glowing and stuff. So if you click on it, then this is where the game like gets really weird. It gets like meta, or like the ARG, I should say. Also,
one thing I noticed is the more you die, the cards that are talking kind of transform into people or robot. Like the stoat kind of turns more and more square. The stink bug turns into like an ugly lady, and the wolf. I didn't get far enough really to see the wolf. Oh
yeah, I forgot to mention that part. So like the stoat, yeah, like so part of the progressing the story is finding the other talking cards. So like you said, the stink bug is another talking one, and the stunted wolf is one. And like you said, yeah, if you play more and more, then you see like the stoat kind of starts getting a square head. And the stink bug starts to look more human instead of just a stink bug. And it turns out okay, so once you click on the new game thing after like you defeat Leshy, then this weird thing happens. Well, after you beat him, actually, this weird thing happens where all of a sudden some guy just goes, oh, I beat him. And then like the camera, and there's like a dead camera thing or something, and like the screen blacks out, and so you're just like, what the fuck? And then it gets this weird little like recording screen. And this is where the ARG section of the game starts, where like you see like I'm assuming this YouTuber who like gets card packs, and if this sounds really weird, it's because it is. Weird. Yeah. It's really fucking weird because it's all like this is an actual dude. It has just like, you know, a camera pointed at him with a green screen behind him. Very kind of that's like an early YouTube thing, you know, like come on man, get your shit together.
Yeah, it was very much like you're watching an early YouTuber kind of record his unboxing experiences, I guess.
Yeah, he was ahead of the curve. Yeah, it's basically unboxing cards. He's like, oh, here's my haul, you know, like that, essentially.
Right.
And I hope it's an old one because again, given this setup, like, oh, okay, this is okay back then. If this happened now, like, you ain't going nowhere, pal. Now with that setup, you need to go crazy. Yeah. You need them edits. You need them air horns. So he's doing that, yeah, and so he gets like one for Inscryption, and he's like, never heard of this game before. And then like he opens one of them, and it's got like coordinates, like actual coordinates, longitude, latitude. He's like, oh shit, that's actually kind of close by. So he goes there, and again, this is all like recording from a camera. And each video is like at max, like there's like 6 or 7 videos, and each one is like a minute or two tops. Some are really short. Right. So then it shows him like going out and finding like a box, and inside this box, which I want to say this, if you open something, I feel like this is just sound advice to anyone, no matter what you're doing. If you open something, whether it be a box, a card pack, you know, clothes, just anything, if you open it and you in that box is a set of coordinates, call the police. Like, just that should be your first instinct. It could be, or like at the very, or don't do anything. Do not go there alone with a shovel and go, all right, I'm gonna start digging. That is a huge no-no. Don't do that. Because I think I saw that play out. I'm like, what is this man doing? He's gonna get murdered.
Yeah, I figured that'd be
I thought like this is where this is going. Am I watching a snuff film?
Yeah, it's definitely that horror movie level of
it's very and like I said, this is very corny and like, very B movie kind of deal. It's kind of charming in a way, but this is where kind of it fails to me. It's kind of like not playing off it. It's kind of taking itself a little too seriously for my taste. Like, this is super serious, guys. And it's like, this is really silly. I think if it like kind of recognized that, it would have landed better for me, but it's like playing it totally serious. And like, I'm not trying to disrespect the guy because he's essentially a one-man, crew. So, props to him for even doing something like this. I'll give him points for, creativity and stuff like that. Obviously, nothing against that, but yeah, for me, it was more like he's like trying really hard to like be creepy and stuff. And some of it is, don't get me wrong, it's cool, but it's like, dude, this is like pretty cheesy. Like, just roll with it,
Right.
Again, that's a small critique. I'm not trying to shit on the dude. It's. I mean, try to do something different. I respect that, but for me, it just didn't land entirely. So, he finds like I said, so off that tangent, don't follow coordinates blindly and start digging. You at best case scenario, you'll probably be implicated in a murder. So don't do that. He finds this box. And it's a floppy disk. That's a fucking old thing to say. And on it just says like Inscryption on it. And I guess this is supposed to be like the original copy of the game. So he puts it in. I don't know the exact timing of this, but I think he's supposed to put it in, and like the main menu of like the game on Steam plays. And so the point of it's kind of like the game you're playing on Steam is just like from the point of view from this guy playing it.
Okay, yeah.
But like you just didn't know at first until this part happened. So that was really weird. Because then when you pick new game, like I said, if you just back out and like go to the main menu again, you can click on new game, and that's what you have to do to go to Act 2. And this is supposed to be like the original version of Inscryption, which is like an 8-bit Pokemon style game.
Okay.
So you go from this weird vibe thing of like, oh, I love the style and graphics too of the atmosphere of the first act. So you go from like that creepy little atmosphere to this cute little like 8-bit Pokemon style game.
Okay,
and it is
that makes sense.
Jarring. It is a jarring change. Like at first I'm like, is this still the same game? I'm like, am I being pranked or something? It was so bizarre. It was really bizarre. Because then we also learned too then like, and it's a little like intro cutscene for the game within the game Inscryption. Those talking cards and Leshy, they're basically like the 4 scribes of Inscryption, and each one has like a different style of like playing. So for example, like let's go through them. Leshy, he uses his camera to like take pictures of beasts, or like his cards are like, animal related. Then the stink bug turns out to be Grimora. Her deck is like death, like bones and skeletons and stuff. The Stoat, like you mentioned, like, oh, looking like a robot, because he is. His name is PO3, and his whole thing is like, with machinery and stuff. And then the wolf is like this tree-looking dude called Magnificus, and he paints his things, and that's his deck. So the point of this part is like you choose to start a deck from one of these 4, play styles. And you have to go through like this little Pokemon mini map, defeat all like it's basically like defeat the gym trainers, and that's how you progress the story. So it's very straightforward in that sense.
Okay, so in Act 2, who are you fighting?
Like all of them. So you're like going around these little sections, like you have like this overworld thing, and then you go to the cabin, you can fight like the other bosses and stuff to get to Leshy. Like defeat all of them, and if you do that, then you get to replace the one whose deck you picked. So it's all very It's all very straightforward in this section.
You beat them to replace them, or you beat one of them to replace them, I assume.
Yeah, like you're supposed to defeat all of them for the section, but like for me, like I picked the Grimora's deck, so that means if I beat all of them, then I would get to replace her as a scribe.
Okay.
And it's very straightforward. There's like little secrets in there here and out, obviously, but for me, this is the weakest section of the game for me personally.
Okay, so what is that? Once you beat him and you do replace her as a scribe, does that tell you with anything special or another cutscene or anything like that?
Yeah, so when you do that, I don't know if there was like clues hidden. There probably were. This game's really good at that. But then like kind of like how Leshy like took control of like the other scribes. Then it shows like PO3, the robot, the Stoat.
Right.
He turns out like, aha, I was the bad one all along. And so like it goes from that to Act 3, and Act 3 is basically plays a lot like Act 1, but instead of Leshy, it's PO3. So it's kind of like a factory warehouse setting.
Okay, but is it still that like faux 3D setting like Act 1, or what is it still that Pokemon style of
It's back.
Act
Yeah,
2?
it's like back to Act One, that actual like 3D style puzzle room
Okay.
thing. Whereas Act Two, like even the card game, it's just like a Game Boy, screen, which is cool. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong, it was cool at first, but it's like, oh man, I really miss like the whole vibe of the 3D environment and stuff.
Yeah, that one was really unique, I will say. Like it's
And then
retro, but it's 3D and it's dark, you know.
yeah, no, I really liked it. So when it goes back to like that section, but just with PO3, and like I said, in like this desolate factory setting, I really like that too.
Right.
Because now in the map, like I said before, it was like the old like the treasure map you would find like in westerns or something. Now the map
Mhm.
like is this holographic thing. It has like same thing, go through these sections, like try to find secrets and stuff like that.
Right, right.
And so you're doing all of that, and I know I've talked a lot, like really went into depth of like the first act. I would probably went half an hour on it. I know, and these next two I'm kind of gonna blow through them, but again, it's because it was kind of the weakest parts to me. It's like I've lost interest now in a way, kind of.
Right, right.
Because shit, I totally forgot to mention like the actual ARG section of the game.
Oh well, I'm gonna go into it after you get to Act. Once you finish off Act 3, I'll jump into the Act 2 portions and whatnot.
Yeah, okay. But just to like give it like a little like what happened next, because you beat Act Two, so like the story progresses with this guy. Also, this guy's name, the guy you're playing as, supposedly his
Mhm.
name is Luke Carter. I'm like, come on, man! Like you're not. I'm not gonna take this seriously with like the guy's name is literally Luke Carter. Like no, like come on, like it's cheesy. Like don't do this to me. But
Luke
again, it plays
Carter.
his name is Luke Carter. Yes. And it's like, no, like, again, it's fine, but like, it's not. Don't play it off 100% serious. It's like, and like, no one comments on that. Like, are you serious? Like, come on, like that is not just something you look over.
Right, right.
Um, and so like he's trying to like what was it say anyway? Like so in this little section after you do Act Two, he contacts the publisher of Inscryption in Universe, Game Funa. Like I know you mentioned them before, quick, saying like, hey, I got a hold of this, and they reply back to him saying like, hey, give us that back or else you will face legal action.
Right.
And so naturally, like, what the fuck is happening? And like some lady representative from them comes over to visit him at his house. Is like, aren't you Luke Carter? This and this. You have the original copy of Inscryption? And he's like, no, I don't. And say, okay,
Yeah.
I'll be back and stuff. And just like he's like, what the fuck? And like, and then like I said, this is like he's coming like
Campy.
it's incredibly campy, but again, playing 100% serious. This is like making the actors in the Blair Witch look like Oscar winners, No disrespect to them. I'm sure they're great people, but again, just the vibe and everything is like it's very cheesy and corny, you
Right,
know.
right.
So that's all happening, and so like now he's like, all right, I've got to figure out this game still and figure out what's happening. Um, so yeah, you're doing this with PO3, and as you're beating him, because he's like said his whole gimmick is like computer stuff. So
Mhm.
one boss is kind of weird. Is like, oh, we're connecting to the internet and stuff like that. And then another boss is like, oh, it's kind of fucky. Like, oh, I need to access your files and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw that. That's weird. That was, I don't know. I don't know how I
I
feel about
now
that.
that I liked. It was it's very Kojima esque. I love that kind of shit. So oh no, speaking of that too, actually one of the puzzles in Act Two, you have to like find like you have to it's another puzzle like you have to like put the sigils like in a correct order. So
Mhm.
one of the riddles is like you will find this where for those who can't hear or those who hear too well. And I'm like, what the fuck? I don't understand that. Like I had to look it up, and it was like, oh, find the symbol in the sound options menu. And I'm like, really? I like that. Okay, that's something like,
Okay.
yeah, it's like, oh, okay, that's 100%, like I said, Kojima-esque. Like, what the fuck? Like, it makes sense. Like, okay, that's stuff I like. I'm all for that kind of meta stuff. Um, and anyway, yeah, back to the Act 3. So, like I said, these bosses are like, oh, I need to access go into the internet. Or like, oh, I need to access your actual data, because PO3 is like talking about, oh, the great transcendence. And his master plan is basically he wants to take the game copy of Inscryption and put it on like the digital storefront to spread it to the masses.
So what's his reasoning for that? To spread it to them, but like why? Like what?
I don't know. I guess he's like a rogue AI. I'm sure it said it in there somewhere, but I missed it. He's just the evil guy. He's like wants to spread this thing. I'm assuming Inscryption's like I got like from what I got surface level, because like I said, I know you did the other research into it, the background of it. On the surface, it feels like this game is like cursed or something, because in one of the little like live action scenes, Luke's like calling someone who's like granddaughter or something worked on the game. He's like, oh, can I talk to her? It's like, oh, she died while making the game. What? Like, God, I'm so sorry. So you kind of get the sense like there's something iffy with this game, especially with how like Leshy kind of took control of it and like you couldn't do like the new game at first.
Right.
So so the vibe I was getting from it was there's something wrong with this game. It's evil. In what capacity? Not sure. It could be like devilish, something occult though, I felt. And so like it's kind of sentient, and PO3 is just kind of a personification of that in the game sense. So he wants to spread himself so like other people can like have access to it. That's what the vibe I got.
So some kind of like sentient AI.
Yeah, and it wants this sentient evil AI, which is also like some weird like demon thing again, or some kind of again occult thing.
Right.
And it wants to spread itself to the storefront. Well, that's why it needs the internet. That's why it needs access to his data and stuff, so he can actually do that. And so before he can do that, if you beat him, you'll have like the other scribes come up behind him and like, fuck him up. And like, all right, cool, we'll be fine. But Grimora is kind of like, we can't let this happen. So she actually gets into your data and is like deleting the game. And so like this is a weird little thing where like the game's falling apart, but you all have to play like a last round with all of the scribes left, while the game is like losing it. It's like the music stops, you lose like the background, you start losing sound and all that, while like the game is like deleting itself. So the game ends up deleting itself, and it ends with like it goes back to the live action. And the last scene is like Luke calling some reporter, I assume, saying like, "Hey, this game is fucking weird. It took control of my PC and stuff. I don't think this is legal." And the reporter's like, "Oh shit, okay, let me get my notebook. Let me talk about this." And then there's a knock on the door. And he's like, "Oh my god," he's so annoyed. And it's the same lady from before that visited him.
Right.
And so he opens it. It's like, "I told you." And before like he can say more, like she just shoots him in the head, and it's like all off screen. Like the camera falls, and you see like blood pooling from his body, and you can hear her rummaging through the stuff. And again, I guess the assumption is she's getting the floppy disk of Inscryption. And yeah, that's kind of just how it ends. Then you go back to the main menu, and you can just start it all over from there.
So that's the end. That's the end of the game.
I think so. And I don't know if there's like alternate endings, but that's the ending I got. Like I said, it was weird. I can appreciate the effort of like trying to go like meta with it, like and doing like an ARG. But for me, it was like, again, they played it off way too seriously. I feel like if you just kind of embraced the silliness of it, it would have come off a lot better. Because like, yeah, as soon as you beat Leshy in the first act and you see that, for me, not my motivation, but it kind of killed my whole like vibe of the game. Like, what is this? Like, it's just like, for me, it was like trying to be too cute. I think that's the best way to describe it. It was trying to be a little too cute, and like it suffered. It bogged down the rest of the game for me. Because then like the whole time I'm playing it, like the next section's kind of like, I want to play the Act 1 again.
Dude, something cool just happened.
The
puppies were howling.
Really?
Yeah, they're howling right now.
I can't hear them.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
They've been little shitheads this whole time, dude. One of them has been beating up the other one, and the other one's been beating up. I mean, they just been going consistently, just beating each other up all day. And they're both little.
Yeah, the tiny little dogs.
And it feels bad because, I like, you try to like spank them, and it's like they're little, so it's like, okay, I can't spank them as, I would like a 50-pound dog. These dogs weigh 10 pounds, so like how, like it's just a very weird thing. I don't know how to discipline them as far as because they know when they're doing something bad, it's the funniest thing. They think they're getting away with it. Like they'll watch you, and then whenever you look away, they think they're okay. I'm gonna go do this.
He doesn't see me, then if he's not looking my way, then I'm good.
Yeah, they're wild. Well, I guess I'll start the ARG section. So, is there a couple of times where like the data pops up and allows you to like input certain things, like a black screen?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think. And just to, in case like maybe it did happen, but I'm not gonna lie. While I was playing this, usually I'm pretty good at like while I'm playing the game, I'll stop and like take notes and stuff. Totally forgot we were doing it for this game, so all my notes I've taken after the fact. I did not take notes while playing this straight up. So oops on that. I don't remember that though.
So the game didn't talk a lot about the old files.
I remember there was a lot of reference to the old data.
Old data, okay. So there's a section, I guess, within the game's actual files where you can go and request to look at the old data codes.
Mm-hmm.
And the old data has a cipher.
Mm-hmm.
So so you got to break this cipher. And so the first part of the cipher is SE 167BP true, and then 23K2F exclamation point 00R, which looks like T3K2 floor in, I guess, leet speak, and then archive new game question mark.
Yeah.
So the SE portion, the SE stands for story events 167, which there is no 167. You actually have to go into the game's files to take a look at this.
Oh wow.
And the BP stands for Bone Lord Puzzle, which, if you notice, the Bone Lord is in the corner of the cabin after a certain portion of the game. Mm-hmm. So the skull.
Yeah.
So you can activate it by either going into the game's files or, this is the way I accidentally activated it. I didn't know till after the fact. If you go up to that Bone Lord and you just click him a couple times, his eyes will glow.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that is the one of the first parts. So after that, you will get the cipher. I am learned too much, which is kind of like shorthand. It's I am LRNED too much, and then you'll get. So then you look at 23K2 floor. Mm-hmm. So the 23K2 in one of the videos, somebody noticed that. He has sticky notes on his desk, and it's a pig, a 3K, and then another pig. Right. Well, in the game, the pig represents the deuce, and deuce means 2, right? Mm-hmm. And this all goes back to this card game called the Knopf Code, which is a German card game.
Oh God, the Germans.
Yeah. So that's how they kind of gathered it was 2. So we understand that the 2 are the deuces, but what's the 3? Mm-hmm. Well, the 3, they noticed only one card was allowed to attack in 3 separate directions, which is the Mantis God.
Right.
So they put so it's the pig, Mantis God, and then the K. So K, they're thinking, okay, K, king. Mm-hmm. So the only thing that has a king in it is the Rat King.
Right.
So there's a certain, I believe it's a boss fight where you have to put these cards in that order: Deuce, Mantis God, Rat King, and Deuce. Huh. And so whenever you do that, the names go away, and then the first Douse becomes S, the Mantis God becomes T, and the Rat King becomes O, and the second Douse becomes Stop. So from that, then you're like, okay, floor. What's floor? So somebody actually went to the game files, because you can't actually see the floor in the game. So there's actually 2 ways you can find this. So somebody looked into the game files, and there actually is a game file, a texture for the floor. And within that was a code, 27341. What
the hell?
But also the holes on Leshy's roof. And whenever you're in that cartoon mode, there's 2 holes, and then, there's a 2, 7, and like off to the side written in like some kind of red paint. I don't know if you noticed that in his yard.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so the 2-7 is the first part, and then the 3 is the holes of the roof, and then 4 and then 1 are all numbers of holes in the roof. So that's the second part, and then and then the third part is archive new game.
Okay.
So there's actually in the archivist boss mode, or the boss fight, not for the archivist. There's Morse code in the boss fight. So if you decode that boss fight, you get big ear, no chance. So yeah, so that was the first 3 parts of the cipher. So I am learned too much. Stop 27341, big ear, no chance. So you input that, and then it's Polish. The game decrypts, and it goes into like Polish or German, and yeah. So that was that's incredibly
that's
crazy.
fucking insane.
Yeah. So
what the
guy,
hell?
which I'll put I want to give this guy his. In fact, let me look him up because I watched a YouTube video, or a couple, actually multiple YouTube videos, but this is the one where I garnered a lot of my information.
That's insane.
Yeah. So this guy's name is Maka, MAKA_J, and his video is called Inscryption Story Explained. Yeah. So that was one of the videos I had to look at to kind of, I guess, watch the ARG portion of it.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that was just kind of
that is
crazy.
Fascinating. That is crazy. I mean, I'm gonna say that sounds a little more interesting than the story they presented. I was gonna say that sounds like your kind of style now. That kind of
thing. So once you encrypt, or once you bring this out, then it also brings back it brings up more codes, and so the next ciphers are back to beginning in kind of leet speak. Right. Manatee hashtag or
pound
and then the last folk. One, yes and then also Birchkin $$56 -57M. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So you have to. Yeah. It's
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a skeleton card with coordinates in a video as well, in one of the videos. So if you look at those coordinates, it goes to Stanley Park in Vancouver. So these are real coordinates. So these guys, I guess, that were in Canada decided to go check out Stanley Park and found a floppy disk. So I guess they contacted Daniel Mullins, who's the creator of the game,
right,
and decided to, go with them. And in the video they posted, Daniel Mullins, or no, I'm sorry, the guy who plays Luke Carter and Daniel Mullins attacks these guys, which is, all for show. They're putting on a little thing to make it look like, something is going on, just in the spirit of the game, I guess. But in actuality, they were given 2 floppy disks. So the first one was the floppy that was buried in the ground, which would not have worked. So it was kind of like a memento. And then they were given a blue. And the blue floppy had a code on it that said, "This guy moaned." That was all that was on the all that was on the floppy disk was a code called "This guy moaned," all in one word. And it turns out to be a Reddit account from Daniel Mullins, and it's talking about a custom game and a custom card game called Aqua Roman, and there's a manatee card in that game called Antony. So that's how they got it, was Mantity. So they changed that. The answer to that one is Antony pound, right? Okay. Then so the first code, I guess answer the first code is WHTL white lies ahead. What was the answer to the first code. So yeah, you actually have to download like demos and all kinds of stuff to yeah.
Shit, there's so much going on right now. Jesus.
Yeah, so you actually have to beat a demo from Daniel Mullins that's on Skype or not Skype, Steam. And once you beat the demo and the game crashes and then it kind of shows that white lies ahead, and that's how they got that first one. There's definitely more details. So then the last one is Birchkin $$56-57M. So in Luke Carter's first unboxing, he talks about getting a foil Birchkin Catch Monsters, which is the card, I guess, the fake brand or whatever.
Right.
So he gets a foil Birchkin. So that's actually from a failed Kickstarter from 2014. And you can download the pre-alpha demo. And if you play the game, there's actually a card called Birchkin. And his power is passivism. That's his card's ability. So that's the first part of the code is passivism. So then to get the second part of the code, the 56 and 57 is he made another demo or another game. And this other game is called it's a free Steam game called Beneath the Surface, and it's like an Eskimo fishing game.
Okay.
And so you have to go into the game's files and like go into Notepad++ and enter the first two ciphers that you have gotten. And then that 56 and 57 meters is the game is basically talks about going under the ice and you're fishing, right? So you can go, I guess, depending on how many times you've done it or the points you've gotten, you can go so many meters into the ice. Well, so it's saying 56 to 57 meters is where you find the answer for the next thing.
Okay.
So at 56.6 meters in this free game on Steam, you get a random floppy, and it says once you get that floppy, it says on it, "Who knows what secrets are inscribed upon it?" ? And then it says 0044 exclamation point 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except okay. I just want to say, yeah. At this point, I'm like that. It's like that meme with the lady and like just all the fucking like formulas and stuff going in front of her eyes, just like going through them. That's how I feel right now. There's just a lot going on. Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, it gets even crazier.
Jesus Christ.
So in the game it mentions the Karnoffel code.
What's that?
So it's the Karnoffel. It's a card game.
Okay.
Right,
that German one, right?
Right. Where the Daus comes from.
Yeah.
So that's a German game.
Okay.
And in the last cipher, once you beat this section, a journal page pops up. You have to. It's in like Polish or Russian or whatever, and you gotta transcribe it or whatever. And it says it's a journal page describing where Hitler's rotting corpse is in the card game found in his jacket pocket.
What?
Which was the Karnoffel code. Yes. And the person writing this was from the USSR, smuggled the disc from Moscow to West Berlin, which if anybody knows anything, East Berlin was controlled by like Russians and was the communist side of Berlin. So he had to get through all that and then go to West Berlin to kind of like freedom. And then it's corrupted and then it says Kaminsky data storage. And then it gives you a link, www.kaminsky.fg.com. I'm sorry, not dot, but /fg.com/order form, and then Boston. And then it says bracket 2B, 2C, 2A, how fitting, and then bracket 3C. So if you go to this website, it takes you to a replacement order form, and it asks you for your address. So I guess multiple people have done it. Now it does not. Now it says it gives you a whole different message. I would implore you to go look at it. Yeah. But it's like some kind of irritated message like we've already sent, that basically they're backed up or whatever because the RG is now been completed.
Right.
So yeah, so people put their address, and 3 floppy disks were mailed out to random people.
Oh shit.
Yes. And so there was codes there was codes on these 3 floppy disks, and it was like multiple pounds, which were kind of like the redactions, and then and then like Q26H or playing pound pound, like basically taking out the message.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then so you enter these codes, and you get the last the last I guess the journal, and it talks about April 30th, 1945, top secret information. 2 Russian soldiers took photos of Hitler's corpse and the deck and the order of the deck from his corpse. So yeah, I don't know why to me it's just odd that they threw Hitler in it, because I felt like they could have done something real crazy with that instead of just like throwing him in there, I guess, for like the I don't want to say the clout, but they're like throwing this evil guy's name into it, like for no, like what does that have to do with Inscryption other than the Carnoffel code? You know what I mean?
Okay. So let's say, so in summary, this thing, this, I guess in this thing Inscryption is supposed to be like, it's supposed to be just, it has pictures of Hitler's corpse.
So the pictures aren't there, but it's basically saying that it had the coordinates of, because if you know anything about history, Hitler committed suicide, and I believe the legend, yeah, and the Russians got the corpse, and the corpse was they did the genetic research on it and everything, and it ended up being a female corpse, so it's not Hitler's body. So this is supposed to have the actual coordinates to where Hitler's corpse was, as well as the pictures, but the pictures are not in the game or anything like that.
Right. That'd be fucking crazy.
Yeah. And then so it solves the rest of these kind of redacted sections. So the Q26H is actually, the whole thing's actually a YouTube link. And then the rest of it says, thank you for playing Inscryption, friend. But basically the YouTube link basically talks about how the Stoat is the one who actually put the game on Steam. So by playing the game, we have released it.
That makes sense, because it's the Stoat is PO3, and he was the one trying to make that happen. That's fucking weird.
So it's crazy. Like I said, they could have done so much more. Like, why are you just going to throw Hitler's body in there and not do anything with it? I don't know. But it's also cool because of all the, because the history aspects of it, and the fact that there's, these people went to a real location, or these other guys went to a website and got physical like these guys had to buy floppy disk drives.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, to see what was on these floppy disks.
That's funny, because
sure I explained
that's kind of like what that's what Luke Carter did too in the story. He had to buy a floppy disk driver.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I explained it horribly, but that's the gist of it. Like I said, I'll put the actual video in the comments. It's an hour and some odd minutes long, so it's a pretty long video, but if you want to sit down and watch it and listen to it, but yeah, that's the kind of ARG portion.
That's wild. I think the way you kind of felt about that too, like you recognize all this effort and stuff put in, like that's amazing, that's cool, but then it's like, why'd you do that though? That's kind of how I feel about like the in-game story. Like, I appreciate the effort. I like that he tried to do something a little wild and crazy with it, but it's just like the direction itself, like I don't know, that wasn't very satisfying.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it at the end of the day. And I could tell like the story was interesting. It was cool. And like I said, I just feel like it kind of fell flat, like the whole ARG thing. Like, okay, Hitler's corpse. Okay, like that's cool, that's interesting, but why?
Right.
Like, especially if you're not going to do anything with it, which to me it'd be hard, because Hitler died in like what 1945. So it's like there was no real computer systems other than IBM's cataloging of the Jews, I guess. I had to throw that history fact out there. IBM. But yeah, they did nothing with that. So other than the Carnoffel card game, I guess.
I'm still like I like full disclosure. I know Jerry like texted me before like, yeah, I'm doing the research in the ARG section. I'm gonna throw in a little Hitler in there. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, well, no, I'm not just gonna like shoot it in there, but like it involves it. I'm like, oh, okay. And that is even with that knowledge, I'm still just like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'll send you the link if you want to watch it. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I messed some stuff up. I kind of scribbled all this stuff down. I watched the video while I was at work. We had a couple of good nights. So I kind of like had scribbles and different pages with, different information.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, yeah, that's good. I think you did. I mean, it was hard for me just because it's a lot happening. I'm just like, what the hell? I'm sure like pretty much similar to like how I explained like the in-game story. It's a trip. Yeah, I would definitely check out that video, and I would say anyone who's kind of interested in that, I don't know how you couldn't be, should watch that. And I think if you like, I think the game is worth a play if you like card games and stuff like that. And then want to have like a kind of a weird ass story behind it, then I'd say definitely give this one a shot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, maybe again, like I said, in the future, if you ever want to like try it again, just tell me, screen share. I'll guide you. But it probably worked out because I feel like what you did there, that's right up your alley. I feel that's your kind of vibe.
Yeah, it was. I mean, once I saw kind of like how all these people like, because I was sitting at work like writing this stuff down and for hours, right? Because I stopped the video and then write it and then look and then do some other research on maybe parts I didn't understand. Had to look more into it. And my coworkers were like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" Because I'm just sitting on the table in the middle of this staging area, just doing that. So
you got this whole like mapped out thing. It's like a conspiracy board in the movies, like the red tape and everything.
Pretty much. I have like a paper that's like a foot by 8 inches long, so it's like, yeah, pretty much.
You're like Charlie from Sunny. Like just point out, you want to talk about this? Let's talk about this, man. You just like look insane, like you're hyped up on cigarettes and shit.
Yeah, like see Hitler. Huh?
Yeah, like and then like you go from Inscryption, this little card game, and then your last sentence, and that's where Hitler's corpse is, and you're just like, what the fuck just happened? How did we get here?
And that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel like. And the thing is this is not Daniel Mullen's first ARG. So he has multiple games. He has like a pony road game or something, like some kind of fucking unicorn game or something.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that in the synopsis. Yeah, Pony Island.
Yeah, so there's like shit in that. There's he also has another game which has a really well-known ARG called The Hex.
Yes.
So he has multiple games. So he's it seems like he really enjoys doing this, and I think
it seems like based on what you told me, he looks like he's got a knack for it.
Yeah, and people obviously enjoy solving them. Mm-hmm. So I mean that's really cool, and I definitely understand that for sure.
It's just kind of like the end result is like meh.
I feel like that's his way of bonding with maybe his fans.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so that's the end of the ARG. Basically, the Stoat released the game on Steam, and we're all fucked.
And Hitler's involved somehow. I'm still not sure about that.
Yeah, Hitler's corpse has to do with the Karnoffel code. Yeah.
And that's Inscryption, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Goodbye. just leave on that note. Not gonna elaborate. Inscryption Hitler. Bye.
Pretty much, yeah.
So while this is happening, though, I mean, after that little part, that's fucking wild. Still, I'm gonna be thinking about that for a bit. The Daniel Mullins, he actually released a little mod for the game called Casey's Mod, and that's that's what I told you, that Casey's like supposed to be like one of the developers who died while like making or like playing the game. That's like
this is in the game's universe, not in real life.
Yes, in the game universe. This would be tragic. And so what it is essentially it's just a mod that focuses on Act 1 and its gameplay, and it's supposed to be like this developer's mod, Casey's way of like trying to balance the game, because like how I mentioned before, like if you get certain totems or like sigils and stuff, you can like break the game and just like roll through it.
Right. It's
just funny. I think like this is his way of kind of like bringing that up too. Like this is the kind of humor like I kind of like. If he did this in the story, I would appreciate more. Things like, oh, like I love Act 1, it's amazing, but holy shit, like it's so unbalanced. Like there's a card in there called the Ouroboros, and it's essentially where like if you sacrifice it, and then play it again, like it gets stronger. So it starts off 1 attack, 1 heart, right? But if you sacrifice it, it goes back into your hand, and then if you play it, it's 2 attack, 2 health. Then sacrifice it, 3, and then you get the picture. He just keeps doing that. Well, guess what? If you have like an unkillable resource deck like squirrels or the black goats, you can just keep doing that, and like in one round you can go from like 1 attack, 1 health to like 15. And now it's like, this is the only card I need. I will absolutely destroy any opponent now. And you kind of just break the game like that. Yeah. So and that's funny because I feel like that's like kind of like him kind of speaking from like, I guess like the fans or like the people who play the game. Like, I love it, but man, you can like totally fuck it up. So that's kind of his way of like speaking from their perspective while also like, acknowledging like, yeah, there's some crazy shit in there that I did. But not like, oh, I messed up, but like, I mean, it's the lore that matters. Who cares, But anyways, so the mod's supposed to be like, it's a challenge. It's like a gauntlet. So like, one of the challenges is like, let's say, where you saw too, like I told you, like your backpack can hold like 3 items.
Right.
There's a mode in there where like, okay, now you can only hold 2 items, or like you can only hold so many cards or something, or like you start off with like a tick against you, like 1 less health at the beginning of every battle. That's worth like 20 points or whatever. And it just keeps escalating and escalating, to try to make it harder and balanced. And each time you complete a challenge level, there's like a developer's note from Casey saying like, oh, like the first one's like, oh my god, I'm freaking out because Leshy started doing his own thing. And then it's like, oh, I love this game. I love this version of it. And then it goes like, oh, but it's super broken. I'm going to try to work on a mod to balance it out. I wonder what he'll think. And it's like basically like kind of like, I think it will like kind of chronicleize like her downfall and like her untimely death. But like it's basically made for like people who are like, I think you probably heard the feedback. It's like, oh, like I said, I think a lot of people are like, love the first part, and then after that, meh. So now he's like kind of made this to go like, all right, here you go. It's just straight up gameplay on this with a vibe and everything. So there you are, have at it. And that's like where I spent like the last like 6 hours playing is that mod.
Oh shit. Okay, so you like the actual mechanics of the game itself.
I do, like, because then it's like, okay, how can I do this? And now, especially with the challenges, because like I said, I was playing it again for a bit in Act 1. I'm like, I know what to do. Like I said, I already broke the game with the Ouroboros. But then here it's like every time you complete it, you start over. So it's like, it's just different. Like it can be a whole different playthrough. So you kind of like try to figure out different ways. Excuse me. To like make it to the end.
All right. Okay. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't have any other parts. I think I pretty much shocked and awed everybody.
Yeah, I played the game. You're like tripped me the fuck out.
Yeah.
I guess you really couldn't give it a score, huh? Because you didn't finish it.
Yeah, I just feel like the game. If the game's not, as of now, the game's not right for me. Maybe if I have a guiding hand or somebody there to help me, or even if I just watch some videos on my own.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll find some kind of fun in it. Like I said, I feel like this was just the wrong place and time for myself,
right.
Just because of my limited amount of time. But maybe sometime in the future I'll revisit it and definitely take you up on giving you a call and seeing if you could help give me a hand or something.
No, yeah, for sure, man, for sure. I guess I understand that completely. I'm sure there will be a time where like we're playing a game and you love it, and I'm just like, this is just not for me, man. I'll look up other stuff on it, and you can talk about the game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I guess though I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I really like the gameplay wise, I love it, but kind of drops off after the beginning, and then
damn, so you really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm, but the story is like a little disappointing. So no, yeah. But even then, like I know people like 8 out of 10, like, oh, that's average. Like no, it's still really good. And honestly, I think at this point too, that's for like the whole game. For the actual mod, Casey's mod, I probably give that like a 9 out of 10 or a 9.5 because it's like just so many different ways you can play it. For me, it's got a very addictive and enjoyable gameplay loop for me. Kind of like how you said, like, oh, Far Cry, that's your perfect like serotonin little thing. For me, this is what this mod is. Perfect, like, okay, now it's not so easy to where I can like just blow through it, but also it's like I can still like kind of find ways to manipulate it and find my way around certain things. Like there, all this, I get all the serotonin. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I put over 20 hours into this game, so yes, I very much enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely I have to give it another try. Maybe.
Maybe in the future. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give yourself a little breather. We'll play other games. And then you'll be like, I don't know, maybe I'll try it again. Give it another shot. Maybe we'll do an episode where like one more shot where we play games like we didn't like the first time around and we try again.
That sounds pretty good, man.
Oh wow, I thought this was gonna be a short one, and boy oh boy, was I wrong. I really thought this was gonna be an hour tops.
Yeah, no, this was a long one. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it though.
I know someone's just gonna go like Inscryption, like if you like, I'm sure people have heard about it. If you just think like, oh, a card game, and I don't know, but you see the time like an hour 40 minutes, like what the fuck, how?
I mean, but there's a lot that there's a
yeah.
lot of Morse code. There's a lot of just code breaking. Like the guy to break the Morse code, because I guess he didn't know really how to like read it, used the spectrograph function on Audacity to turn the sound into like a visual image to get the dot dot dashes and everything.
Oh my god,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
that's some fucking big brain shit.
Yeah, for sure. As
That's
interesting as it was, I
amazing.
never would have been able to get anywhere near any of this, do any of it. So
You were saying these things, and I would say maybe halfway through when you were explaining the ARG. At that point, my brain was just like, "I like your funny words, Magic Man." I was at that level. I was just like, I'm hearing it, I'm understanding a bit, I'm following, but I've got like the skeleton. I have no meat on this whatsoever.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really have anything else. Is that all you have?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess. Yeah, after that, I don't know what the fuck I could do to follow that up. Like I said, besides the mod, I think that's the biggest thing. That'll probably be the only thing added to it. And it'll probably just be one of those games now where I'll definitely keep playing it. Probably just randomly, I think it's a great time killer. And because it's a card game, it's perfect to let us like, you can play it. I'll play it like in 6 months. And I'll be like, okay, this is just as fun. And you don't have to worry about like, oh, I gotta invest like, 20 hours into this. Is something like, oh, I'll just play for a quick half hour and I'll get my fun in.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I love stories and all that. It's great, but they're like kind of like, especially like what you were saying, some of us just don't got the time. And like, I would love to play 5 hours Elden Ring, but I've got like only half an hour. I'll play a little card game.
Yeah. There's something like I think that's why Call of Duty is such a cool thing, more so than Warzone, but like regular team deathmatch or free for all or whatever. You can just come in, play a match or two, depending on what time you have, and then go out and do whatever you gotta do. It's just a little reliever, I guess.
Yeah, and this game is great for that. Definitely glad we played it. Especially that I've heard so much about it, and we haven't really done a indie game, nonetheless, a card game. So nice to go out the usual like from our personal classics to something relatively fresh, and that we probably wouldn't have played. Same thing, we wouldn't have played without doing this. So that was cool. I was glad to see too, like you said too, like even though like you didn't enjoy it as much as you probably would have hoped for, like you're still glad you gave it a shot though, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it was something that the style and everything and just the kind of mystery and the aura of it really piqued my interest. And like I said, it seemed like really awesome, and the story of it seemed really awesome. It's just I could not bring myself to beat that first, to beat Leshy, and after that I was just like, man, I'm not.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably would have, even if you did, you probably would have like lost some entrance just because you're like you lose that vibe, you lose the vibe,
Yeah.
And you go into the 8-bit, and I know you're not the biggest fan of that kind of style. I'm not saying you hate it or nothing, but
Well, not even that. See, there are certain games like Mother 2 that I really enjoy that 8-bit style, and I can play that all day. I used to play it all day. I used to have an emulator on my phone, and I used to sit there and play Mother 2 all day. But yeah, so like I said, it just was kind of boring, repetitive, and I sucked at it.
It just didn't click.
That's fun. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I get it, man. It's like me with first-person shooters. It just doesn't click sometimes.
For sure. Everybody has their thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, but with that being said, thank y'all for listening and sticking with us on this very long episode of Two Unrelated Brothers. It's definitely seems like things are, I guess, calming down out there. Hopefully everybody's safe and, chilling and I guess, okay. But thank y'all for listening and I'm pretty sure Jacob will agree. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. and hopefully we're hoping to grow the podcast more and more, and definitely put in more work on our end to make it a polished experience. But thank y'all.
No, yeah, for sure. Like Jerry said, thank you all for listening. Whether this is your first one, or you've listened to all of them, thank you so much. Thank you to anyone who follows us on any of our social medias. Really appreciate that. We're a small time thing, and the main thing at this point, we're just having fun with this. This is a little hobby. Obviously, you hope in the back of your mind, get it big, but it's fun still. Like it's not a job. We're having a good old time with this, and we hope anyone who's listening, feels the same. Just listening to two guys, shoot the shit.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah. I hope y'all are having a good day, and Jacob, I love you, man. Hope to see you soon.
No, man, I love you too, brother. Yeah, definitely need to hang out soon. It's been too long, and to all our listeners, take care and be good, y'all. See ya.